Aloha and good afternoon. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz, and I'm joining you from Honolulu, Hawaii, where it is beautiful weather today, sunny day. And with me is Dr. Peter Tarlow, who is preparing for his big day tomorrow, and he will tell you more about it. He's in Texas, and I hope it's also a sunny day getting into tomorrow because that's an important day, Peter.
Yes. Well, it was a very sunny day today. Today, which was May 3rd, when we're doing this, was the last day of my being 74, because tomorrow I'll be 75. So once upon a time, I used to think of 75 as being very old, but now I kind of think of being 75 as just the beginning of life. So it shows you how our perspective changes as we get older. Luckily, I'm still able to do lots of things around the world, and I'm very blessed that I have friends all over the world. So it's been 75 really good years, and hopefully I'll get at least another 25 before I have to stop doing these broadcasts with you.
And you
Uh,
have the right genes. Your mother, I think she was 100, right? Almost
no,
100.
she would have made it 100. She just died prior to 100.
Right.
Though I think she was in a nursing home in New Jersey, and I think that it was COVID that killed her. I think, as you know, New Jersey followed the lead of Governor Cuomo. It now appears that he managed to kill about 50,000 people in the nursing homes in New York. And Governor Murphy in New Jersey did not do a very good job either. So these were people who were really captives. So I don't know how long she would have lived. My father lived till he was 92, but he played golf every day of his life until he was 92. So I consider that to be pretty good. If you can, he on the morning of his death, he played golf. They went out for lunch. He took a nap, closed his eyes, and that was it. Over. So if you got, we're all going to die. It seems to me that's a good way to die. So he had a good way to do it. But let's not talk about death. Let's talk about life, because I think that's really what tourism is all about. And in a sense, we're starting on the first glimmers of hope of a renaissance of tourism, at least in some places. I noticed that Florida has now basically said that COVID is behind them. Um, I'm organizing some trips to Israel right now, and Israel is, though it's really interesting what's going on there. Internally, they are COVID is done. It's like no cases, but they're very afraid of foreigners coming in, and so in order to come in, you have to come in as a group, and there's a lottery because there's many more people who want to go than there are they're allowing people to go through. You have to take a test before you get on the plane and a test when you arrive in Israel at one of the airports. So again, this is you buy tickets, but you don't quite know, or you have to buy tickets with the right to return them. You don't quite know what's happening. But these are still like spring blades of grass that are starting to show we're coming through, and that's good.
Right.
So in Hawaii, I know that you're beginning to uh, come also back to life. And one of the things that's going to help this, hopefully, is the new initiative, Health Without Borders, from the World Tourism Network. And maybe you want to say a few words about Health Without Borders before we begin to chat about it.
Yeah, Without Borders really, it's our latest interest group for the World Tourism Network. You find it at WTN.travel. And as you know, World Tourism Network is an association Peter and I started um, several months ago in response to COVID. We now currently have members in tourism professionals in 127 countries. And Health Without Borders is an initiative to for the tourism industry to help countries and members to get access to the COVID medicine. It's the COVID vaccine better. No one is safe till we all are safe. These are the words by President Biden, and this was also a response by 170 heads of states from all over the world and Nobel Prize recipients in a letter to President Biden to overturn the patent law in the United States, so a vaccine can be available also in countries that can usually not afford it. Whether overturning the patent law is the solution, it needs to be discussed. But the fact remains, especially now what we see in India, when outbreaks come, they come big time, and this is an interconnected world. And tourism will most likely not flourish, not even between two continents or like Europe and North America, if not the entire world is safe. We're lucky in the US because we managed to kind of close our borders in a lot of ways, specifically here in Hawaii. Tourism has been back in, we have good numbers, and Florida is expecting the same. I just came back, as you know, from the WTTC summit in Cancun, and it was packed with tourists. So, but to sustain this, really everyone needs to be vaccinated.
I agree. And I'm not sure that turning the patent laws over is going to be the right methodology, but because people spend millions and billions of dollars on getting those patents, and people will be afraid in the future, should there be another pandemic, to invest in it. But what we can do, there's so much money that has been wasted by governments around the world that we need to be helping everyone in the world and just provide the vaccine, just produce nonstop day and night as if this were a war. During World War II, American factories worked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we can be doing the same thing with the American vaccines, which are probably the most superior of the vaccines, and just continue to produce those and get those to every place in the world. And let's not worry about selling them. Let's worry about giving them, because you are right. If, especially in countries that are contiguous, the United States has a big advantage. We have two oceans around us, and we have one border is with Canada and one border is with Mexico. So it's fairly easy for the United States to control its own situation. But for example, in Africa or in Europe or the Middle East, where countries' land borders are very close, you cannot say we're going to be well and the guy across the street who's in a different country is going to be sick. And so it's very important that countries begin to share. Maybe this can be a way of creating peace among people. We've always talked about tourism as a methodology for peace. And maybe if countries around the world will start saying that we can have health without borders, then maybe we can become a catalyst for having peace without borders, and creating a world in which we recognize our common humanity rather than the differences between us. So I'm really hoping that the World Tourism Network is able to have lots of influence. Obviously, we're not a government agency and we don't have political power, but we do have 127 countries who are participating with us. And if we can get some of the other tourism organizations to also participate with us, and health organizations and NGOs to participate with us, then this can become the beginning of a global pattern of which people recognize their humanity. We seek to help each other rather than to hurt each other. So that would be a really major step forward.
Yeah, and it's encouraging because the minute this was announced, I had responses, I think, from 8 ministers of tourism personally say, yes, we're in. So that is a very positive message. And I think we're all excited to see how far we can push this. We all realize tourism industry are not the foreign ministries, are not the health departments, but maybe we see ourselves as a lobbying group within this.
And most tourism ministers are members of government cabinets. They may not be the most powerful. They're not the Minister of Defense or the Minister of Economics, but they still have a voice at the seat within a government's cabinet, and they're able to express the need to do this. And the bottom line is, it's not tourism versus health. It's tourism and health. That this is a public health crisis is a tourism crisis. And in this case, a tourism crisis would create a public health crisis. So they're joined together like twins, like it or not. And the healthier the world is, economically, it's going to be better. Financially, it's going to be better. And it's going to be better with the ability for people to travel. If people cannot travel, the economy will not improve. That's just a bottom line.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Peter. And so we will keep everyone informed what we're doing, and we see what the next step is. And we're hopefully, we can get away from these nightmares and hopefully India, I think, is probably the biggest worry right now in the world.
Yes, India is truly a major worry, but there are other problems. As you know, today in the United States broke that the CDC, which has been giving such irregular advice on COVID, its advice was written by the teachers union. And so it was the teachers union which gives a large amount of money to a particular political party in the United States. They ended up writing what was good for them and not good for the health of our children or health of the country. So basically the CDC today was a little bit anti-science, or the teachers union is anti-science. And that's a real problem. We've got to go back and return to science. Also around the world, there are other problems. There's the issue of North Korea that's starting to take place. Inflation has become a major problem in the Western world, and that's going to hurt tourism radically. Food prices are up by almost 30%. Gas prices are up tremendously, and that means fuel prices are up. And on top of that, what happened in Chad with the murder of the president of Chad has become a destabilizing force through much of Africa. And the two of us work on African tourism, and the last thing that Africa needs right now is to end up with a major war in Central Africa. So that's another issue that has got to be looked at.
Yeah, and also from the health standpoint in Africa, there's a new Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So that is a whole new worry of a pandemic in the middle of another pandemic. But besides the good news in travel and tourism, Lufthansa German airline today purchased 10 highly efficient long-haul aircraft. So they're investing in the future, and it's a good sign. They wouldn't spend the money they didn't have, I guess, if they don't see a positive outlook. So
there's no doubt about it. As you saw coming back from Cancun, the airplanes are full. Now, part of that may be because they cut back on the number of flights, but still, people are traveling. There's a huge pent-up desire on the part of the public to break out of its chains and get back to life as we understood it in 2019. And so I think it's probably a good gamble on the part of Lufthansa. I think they are starting to understand it. And again, I really think the theme of today is that we're seeing not a full spring yet, but the first blades of grass. So they're kind of peeking through the snow, and we're seeing a little bit of hope, and that's important.
Well, Peter, it's interesting times. It's unpredictable times, but I think we can kind of, with all these craziness, we can see the end of the light of the tunnel, and people need to get some good news. And if you overall put it, what's happening in this country with COVID, numbers are going down
tremendously.
If you look at other countries like Israel, for example, where the same trend is true, there are signs of recovery. And despite all the horrible news we're getting from countries like India right now. So this all has to
be. But I think the UK is also doing much better. On the other hand, I think Germany just canceled Oktoberfest.
Yes.
So I think the European mainland is having some problems, but I'm glad to see the UK is doing a very good job. And I think they did a very smart move, not worrying about the second shot. They at least gave everybody the first shot. So they rationed the vaccine. And maybe that's what we need to do around the world, is not worry so much about the second shot. Just give everybody that first shot, so that makes people about 60% immune. And maybe that's a plan that will allow many more people to be vaccinated around the world.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're hoping to contribute to this type of messages with the World Tourism Network.
Well, I think the World Tourism Network should be proud of itself in developing this new program of Health Without Borders. Let's hope that people, it's kind of based on Doctors Without Borders, for the original French concept. We can call this Santé Sans Frontières. And let's hope that we break down the borders, not only of health, but also the borders between people. And that's what tourism is all about. Really, it's life without borders. And maybe that's the important message we need to get across tonight.
Aloha. We are so pleased to welcome you to the Hawaiian Islands. We have sacrificed a great deal to keep our island home safe. We hope you enjoy your time here to the fullest.
Get out into the ocean. Indulge in our diverse cuisine.
and have a first-hand experience of our thriving culture.
Whenever you leave your lodging to enjoy our island home, join us in taking precautions to promote public health and make sure Hawaii can stay open to the world. Wear a mask in public always. Remember, your mask must cover your mouth and your nose. Maintain physical distance of 6 feet when enjoying the islands. Wash your hands frequently and know that when you do, you're sharing aloha with your fellow travelers and the people of Hawaii. Mahalo for your kokua. Thank you for your help.
And Peter, we talk to you hopefully tomorrow. Tomorrow's your birthday.
Yeah, well, we'll probably do it a little bit earlier, but I'll speak to you later and we'll come up with the time. But I'm looking forward to seeing you. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Gray hair, so don't add any more to it. So it's fine.
Okay, bye-bye.
Beaches is all about families, and keeping your family safe is our #1 priority. That's why we created our Platinum Protocol of Cleanliness, setting a new standard of excellence in health and safety protocols to give you a worry-free destination wedding of a lifetime. Beaches was built on connection. Connecting with family and friends, celebrating old times, and creating new beginnings. And we know the love you have for your family and having them there for the most special time of your life is what's most important. At Beaches, you can still have that happily ever after with a fully customized destination wedding surrounded by the people who mean the most to you. You can feel safe saying "I do" in a lush tropical garden, or walking down a white sand aisle with a calm blue sea as your backdrop. Our wedding venues are found in wide open spaces, nature-made for celebrating your love. And while we've always led the industry in health and safety protocols, our resorts are even safer now than ever, giving you a wedding free of worries, surrounded by love. That's why we've reduced the capacity of our venues and put more physical distance between guests. Instead of tables for 8 at your reception, we'll seat only 6 guests per table. We've eliminated buffets and specialty food stations, so all food will be plated and served by Beaches staff wearing masks. We're even offering live stream service of your wedding ceremony, so your friends and family who can't travel right now can still share in your special day. Once the vows have been exchanged, the honeymoon of a lifetime begins. And we're taking every measure necessary to ensure your health and safety during your stay at Beaches. As part of the Sandals Resorts family, we've followed in their footsteps in setting a new standard of excellence with our Platinum Protocol of Cleanliness. Together with the extensive research from local ministries and health officials, the Center for Disease Control, and the World Health Organization, Beaches has instituted advanced hygiene practices across 18 key touchpoints. A triple check system that includes inspecting, cleaning, and sanitizing hard surfaces and common areas every 20 minutes. Adding auto-dispensing hand sanitizing stations throughout the resort. To ensure the utmost safety, Beaches will be using hospital-grade disinfectants, electrostatic sprayers for advanced cleaning, UV lighting equipment to inspect cleanliness, and air duct sanitization for each room before every guest's arrival. We've gone so far as to steam clean and sanitize carpeting and flooring prior to arrivals, and placing personal hand sanitizers in every guest room. For added safety, all staff members are required to wear protective face gear at all times. And from now on, guests can check in online at home, so they can bypass the front desk and go directly to their rooms. Stricter physical distancing protocols have also been put in place in every part of the resort. Chlorine and pH levels at all our pools and water parks are monitored every 2 hours, and we've taken added measures to protect the health and safety of your family. Our kids' camps facilities are sanitized before and after each use. And all of our professional nannies carry pocket-sized bottles of hand sanitizer. Our tween and teen hangouts, including the Xbox Play Lounge and Trench Town, are sanitized before and after each use with hospital-grade disinfectants. In addition, all our spa facilities and sports equipment will be sanitized before and after use to protect the health and safety of our guests and their families. Both Sandals and Beaches are committed to providing strict compliance and implementation of these safety protocols. So much so that we've created a dedicated quality inspection team at each resort to make sure all safety measures are adhered to. We can't wait to help you make your dreams come true with a destination wedding at Beaches. And while you're focused on your new life together, surrounded by those you love the most, we'll take care of everything else.